Ага, так, будемо починати. Все.
Зараз включається. Це онлайн-трансляція пішла.
Все пішло.
Це можна починати.
Добре. Good days, dear scientific council. We start. Ага. Good days.
Ну, подивимось. Десь не йде оця конференція, сторонній звук я не можу зрозуміти. Тобто там...
Ні.
Ну, тобто
Я
спостерігаю.
починаю, так? Все, починаємо. Good day, dear scientific council. We start the procedure defense of QJP. Now let's speak Ukraine. It's a requirement procedure. And I have to read the official documents. Добрий день, пані і панове. Сьогодні 15 червня 2023 року, 12:00. Дозвольте розпочати засідання. Відповідно до рішення вченої ради Сумського національного аграрного університету номер 5 від 17 жовтня 2023 року та наказом ректора номер 202К від 21.04.2023 року в Сумському національному аграрному університеті утворено спеціалізовану вчену раду для прийняття до розгляду та проведення разового захисту дисертації QJP на тему управління розвитком людських ресурсів в контексті старіння населення в Китаї та затверджена англійською мовою Management of Human Resources Development in Context of Aging Population in China на здобуття ступеню доктора філософії у галузі знань 07, управління та адміністрування за спеціальністю 073 менеджмент. Склад спеціалізованої вченої ради. Голова ради Стайниць Наталія Валерівна, доктор економічних наук, професор кафедри менеджменту імені професора Любові Івановни Михайлової Сумської національної аграрної університету. Рецензенти призначення Данько Юрій Іванович, доктор економічних наук, професор, проректор з наукової та міжнародної діяльності Сумський національний аграрний університет, Харченко Тетяна Миколаївна, кандидат економічних наук, доцент кафедри менеджменту імені професора Любові Івановни Михайлової, Сумський національний аграрний університет. Офіційні опоненти – це Козак Катерина Богданівна, доктор економічних наук, професор кафедри менеджменту та логістики, Одеська національна академія харчових технологій та Резнік Надія Петрівна, доктор економічних наук, професор кафедри менеджменту імені професора Завадського, Національний університет біотехнологій та природокористування. Посади членів спеціалізованої вченої ради вказані на дату захисту дисертаційної роботи. Прошу зареєструватися, шановні рецензенти та опоненти.
Колеги, я думаю, потрібно, там помилка, правильно, Катерина Богданівна, по посаді на момент захисту інша посада.
Ні, можна залишити професор кафедри, тому що я так і є професором і директор інституту Венштейна, але заклад називається не академія, а Одеський національний технологічний університет.
Ага, так, добре.
Це потрібно внести в протокол ці зміни.
Угу. Дякую. Тому всі прошу зареєструватися, шановні
І
рецензенти.
перепрошую, і теж ви назвали університет біотехнологій і природокористування. Там, дивіться, там має бути біоресурсів і природокористування.
Зараз. Так, є.
Дякую.
Я вам дякую. Тобто продовжуємо. Зареєструвалися, шановний склад ради, так? Отже, на підставі реєстраційної картки присутні 5 членів спеціалізованої вченої ради із 5 затверджених наказом ректора номер 202К від 21.04.2023 року. Кворум необхідний для засідання є, і ми маємо всі офіційні підстави для того, щоб розпочати засідання. Тобто засідання спеціалізованої вченої ради оголошую відкритим. Сьогодні на порядку денному захист дисертації на здобуття ступеня доктора філософії, аспірантки кафедри менеджменту імені професора Михайлової Сумського національного аграрного університету QJP на тему управління розвитком людських ресурсів в контексті старіння населення в Китаї, англійською затверджена Management of Human Resources Development in Context of Aging Population in China за спеціальністю 073 Management. А роботу виконано в Сумському національному аграрному університеті. Науковий керівник, доктор економічних наук, професор Саханіна Віталіївна. До спеціалізованої вченої ради надійшли такі документи: заява щодо проведення атестації здобувача, копія першої сторінки паспорта громадянки Китайської Народної Республіки, копія диплома магістра, витяг з наказу про затвердження до аспірантури, засвідченої в встановленому порядку, академічна довідка про виконання відповідної освітньо-наукової програми, висновок наукового керівника професора Саханіни Віталіївни, висновок про наукову новизну, теоретичне та практичне значення результатів дисертації, дисертація в друкованому та електронному виглядах, відбитки копій наукових публікацій, зарахованих за темою дисертації і засвідчених у встановленому порядку. Усі документи відповідають встановленим вимогам. Дисертація до захисту подається вперше. Хто за запропонований порядок денний, прошу голосувати. Хто за у нас? Так. А хто проти? Немає. Хто утримався, теж немає. Пропозиція приймається. Дозвольте зачитати біографічні дані аспірантки. Худжепінь, 1979 року народження, громадянка Китайської Народної Республіки, освіта вища, закінчила у 2011 році університет Хуацяо за спеціальністю бізнес-менеджмент. Аспірантуру закінчила у 2022 році Сумський національний аграрний університет Міністерства освіти і науки України, міста Суми. Дисертацію виконано у Сумському Національному аграрному університеті. Дисертаційна робота і тема затверджена на засіданні вченої ради Сумського Національного аграрного університету протоколу номер 7 від 26 грудня 2018 року. Худжепінь завершила виконання освітньо-наукової програми 2022 року. 9 червня 2022 року відбулася публічна презентація і дослідження на кафедрі менеджменту імені професора Михайлова за спеціальністю 073 менеджмент. Дисертацію було рекомендовано до захисту у разовій спеціалізованій вченій раді. Основні наукові положення та результати досліджень за темою дисертації опубліковано у 8 наукових працях, з них 3 статті у фахових наукових виданнях України, всі включені до міжнародних наукометричних баз даних, 2 статті опубліковано в наукових періодичних виданнях Організації економічного співробітництва та розвитку країн, які включені до наукометричної бази даних СКОПу, 3 тези у матеріалах наукових конференцій, наукові публікації відповідають вимогам пункту 8.9 порядку присудження ступеня доктора філософії та скасування рішення разової спеціалізованої вченої ради закладу вищої освіти наукової установи про присудження ступеня доктора філософії, постанова Кабінету міністрів України від 12 січня 2022 року номер 44. І дисертація відповідає вимогам наказу МОН номер 40 від 12.07.17 року про затвердження вимог до оформлення дисертації та порядку присудження ступеня доктора філософії та скасування рішення разової спеціалізованої вченої ради вищої освіти наукової установи про присудження ступеня доктора філософії. Постанова Кабінету міністрів України від 12.22 року номер 44. Чи є питання у членів спеціалізованої вченої ради? Немає. Дякую. Здобувачем погоджено, що захист дисертації буде проводитись англійською мовою. To present the main result of research, the word is given to graduate student Huджепінь. Huджепінь, please share your screen and start present your research.
Okay. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything okay? Yeah, please.
Yeah?
Start.
Okay,
Yes.
everything is okay. Can I begin my presentation?
Yes,
Yeah?
please. Yeah, would you like to start?
Okay, good afternoon, dear professors. It's my great honor to defend my doctoral thesis with you. Now I will begin my presentation. And my topic is management of human resources of development in the context of aging population in China. My supervisor is Professor Ina. My Chinese name is Huo Zhiping, and my English name is Victoria. You can call me Victoria. My presentation concludes 3 parts: research basis, research contents, results, and analysis. For first part research basis, since, as we all know, since 2000, China's population has been getting older and older. In 2000, the number of people over 60 years old in China reached 10.46% of the total population, and we officially enter an aging population, aging society. By the end of the 2021, the population over 60 years old in China has reached 18.9% of the total population, and the elderly over 60 years old has reached 14.2% of the total population. So China has entered a deep aging society according to the classification criteria set by the United Nations. Now let me show you a picture. This picture tells us the change of age structure of population in China since the foundation of New China. We can see the working age population reached the peak in 2011. And since 2012, the working age population began to decline, and the young people below 15 has been decreasing since 1960. And on the contrary, we can see the old people over 65 has been increasing since the 1960. So we can see China's age structure of population has changed. Why it happened? I will show another picture for you. From this picture, we can see the birth rate. The birth rate has been decreasing since 1960, and the mortality rate has been stable at the low rate. So the low birth rate and mortality rate led to the decreasing of natural population growth rates. At the end of the last year, China, the population got the negative increase for the first time about 61 years. So it arose the concern from our government, scholars, and the whole society. So for China, it's a big problem, and according to the prediction of United Nations, China in the future, China will face a more and more serious aging problem. So for China, we must take some action to deal with the problem at once. This picture shows us the research idea of development of human resources for the elderly in my current PhD thesis. And for the part 2 research contents, although China's population aging appeared relatively late due to the family planning policy in the 1970s, it took only 21 years for the proportion of people over 65 in the total population to increase from 7% in 2000 to 14.2% in 2021. In this part, I analyzed the current situation about aging population and human resources for the age, and I emphasize the existing problem of elderly human resources development. From this table, we can see China is getting old before it's getting rich. And from this table, we can see there is the difference. There is the imbalance. There is the imbalance of aging degree among different region. And from this picture, we can see the aging degree in rural area is much higher than in the urban area. This picture shows us the floating population. I think it's the main cause for the urban and rural difference of aging degree. So although the elderly population is expected to peak of 446 million in 2055 and began to decline, and the proportion of the elderly population will continue to rise due to the increase of total population after 2030. So we can see that from this 2-3 picture. For the point 2, from this picture, we can see China has the largest elderly population, over 250 million in the world, which will reach a peak of 446 million in 2055. Yeah, we can see it from this picture. From this picture, we can see after 1982, the education level of the elderly continues to improve. And by 2050, 35.2% of the elderly will have reached high school education or above. And nearly 1/3 of the elderly are in good health in 2020. For this point, I analyzed the current situation of development of human resources for elderly from several aspects, such as education obtained, and working area, and working hours, and employment rate. Based on this analysis, we found some existing problem. Educational resources for the elderly are inadequate. From this picture, we can see only 4.7% of the old people can get the education from a university, including the distance education. Government has neither corresponding guidance nor specific plan on how to make full use of and develop the elderly human resources. Employer like systematic policy support, which directly leads to the practice of hiring the elderly, is rare. And there is no special responsible organizations for the development of elderly human resources. And these are my scientific novelty of my dissertation. The first, in my dissertation, I pay more attention to the elderly themselves, and in my dissertation, it includes that the development of human resources for the elderly is not only for the development of society, but also the embodiment of the needs of the elderly themselves. And the third, based on the interpretation of Sari classical economic theory, this paper draws a conclusion that the development of older human resources will not cause unemployment, but is beneficial to the employment of young people. And the last one, this thesis analyzed the influencing factors of the development of human resources for the elderly through questionnaire, survey, and data analysis. For part 3, results and analysis. In this part, I got some results and did some quantitative analysis. First, I designed a questionnaire and analyzed the results. And did the cross analysis and logistic regression analysis. Based on the analysis, we found the age, health, skill, and pension are significant factors affecting the development of human resources for the age, while the gender, financial state, and education are not significant factors. Based on the analysis above, I proposed some suggestions. First, unemployment should not be used as an excuse to hinder social development, because even if in the environment of full employment, there's still some unemployment, such as frictional unemployment and seasonal employment, and so on. And the second, the young and older labor can all exist because the young people tend to work in the industry related to internet and high technology and some urgent industry. Old people always work in the agricultural industry and the service industry, so they can coexist. And the third, doing something for the old, help young people find a job. Based on the theory of production creates demand. If the old people get more money, they can spend more on expenditure, and the boss will hire more people to work. Most of the people are young people. And the last suggestion is old people have their own advantages. Through many years of work, old people will have many advantages, such as practical experience, life experience, social capital advantages. So we should change the concept and recognize the advantage of the elderly human resources. And then I proposed some countermeasures. First, I think the state support is very important for the development of the human resources. Because the state support can provide legal guarantee, and they can build a special administrative department, and they can provide the judicial system framework, and the government can build a digital technology system, and they can build a lifelong education system. And then I proposed some countermeasures from macro level and micro level. On the macro level, I proposed some countermeasures such as people first, combining social and economic interest, respecting reality, and building a national strategy of active aging. We should have more research on aging. And from the micro level, I propose some countermeasures such as developing a tertiary industry, supporting businesses that employ the elderly, and caring for the elderly from the physical and mental health, and encouraging old people to start their own business. And for the enterprises and other organizations, they should build a flexible working system for elderly. So that's my presentation. Thank you very much. These are some photos in Ukraine. It's a memorable experience for me. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The report is complete. Please ask question. First, I invite Professor Danko. Would you like to ask question?
Yes. Dear Victoria,
Yes.
thank you for this memory photo with our major,
Yeah.
with our rector.
Okay, you're welcome.
But I have some question about your dissertation. First of all, I want to ask about some proposition. You proposed a management system of human resource development in context of aging population in China. Can you explain the main elements of the system and describe the possibility of practical implementation them?
Okay, thank you, Professor, for your question. I think human resource development management system should include the following elements: government agency, competent departments, communities, medical institutions, university for the elderly, local universities and technical schools, social organizations, and enterprises. I think this management system can provide security for the development of human resources for the elderly at a different level. Yes, that's my answer for your question.
Okay, thank you. I think you can switch off the presentation and continue answer for question. And so my second question is about methodology of your dissertation. Can you please more deeply to characterize the complex of scientific methods that you choose for your research?
Okay, in my dissertation, I have chosen 3 scientific research methods. One is the historical literature method. And in order to finish my dissertation, I have read a lot of previous literature on aging and human resource development. The second method is qualitative measured. Qualitative for the qualitative, a qualitative research measured based on some human resource theory, sustainable development theory, and hierarchy of needs theory, and other classical theory. This paper expounds the feasibility and necessity of the development of elderly human resources, analyze the internal law and the development of elderly human resources, and determines a solid logical basis for quantitative analysis. Third, I use the quantitative research method. This study used the statistics published by international organizations and China's Statistic Yearbook and Special Surveys on Aging. In the quantitative analysis method, some charts are generated by Excel and Word software. SPSS software is used to analyze the correlation of factors affecting the employment of the elderly, so that the data can be presented more intuitively. And through the cross-analysis and the logistic regression analysis, the significant factors affecting the employment willingness of urban elderly are obtained. Age, health status, skill level, and pension are significant factors affecting the development of human resources for the aged. While gender, economic status, educational level had no significant influence. After that, the model coefficient, goodness of fit, and the prediction of the model are verified. This can provide a reference for policymaker. Okay, that's my answer for your question 2. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Victoria. Victoria, please change slide back to title.
Okay.
Thank you for your answer. As for me, you are very modest in this context, because you talk about three methods. I think more correct will be say 3 groups of methods, because as for me, what I can see more methods in your dissertation, using more methods. But I am satisfied. Thank you for this answer.
Okay, we continue. Thank you. I invite Tatiana Harchenko, please. Would you like to ask some question?
Yes. So, thank you, Victoria, for your results of scientific research. And I have some questions. So the first, your repeated statement about the need to increase the retirement age due to the development of China's scientific and technological progress is quite data-driven. So, and will the development of human resources of the elderly take place at the same time? How do you think?
Okay, thanks, Professor, for your question. I think the delay in retirement is not due to the progress of science and technology, but because of China's rapid aging and the huge elderly population will make the developing China face enormous pressure on old age support. And China's structure labor shortage which began in 2004, can also be alleviated by delaying retirement. Of course, the development of human resources for the elderly can take place at the same time as scientific and technological progress. We can use scientific and technological means to develop human resources for the elderly more efficiently, which can also make the human resources for the elderly keep up with the pace of scientific and technological development and better adapt to social development. That's my answer for your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm satisfied. And the next question. So, by which principles did you choose countries for comparison the development of the elder people? Would you implement some approaches to the China situation?
Okay, thanks for your question. I choose other countries according to the degree of aging and the level of economic development to compare the development of human resources for the elderly. In my dissertation, I chose some countries and regions such as Japan, Germany, the United States, South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, to make a crime comparison. At present, there are more than 2,060 million people over 60 in China. So it's not enough to rely on the government to develop human resources for the elderly. Government should encourage social organizations and businesses to participate. And with the help of developed internet to expand the scope of human resources development for the elderly, I think that's my answer for your question.
So
Thank you.
your answer is very fully. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so Professor Katerina Kozak, would you like to be next? Would you like to ask some question?
Yes, thank you. Thank for the important topic, not only for China. I think this topic important for the world. And I have two questions. And first question, what were the main purposes of PhD research? And second question, why do you decide to take older people development as a research object?
Okay, thanks, Professor, for your question. The main purpose of PhD research through the collection of relative data to understand the current situation and the existing problems of the development of elderly human resources in China, and then put forward some measures to promote the development of elderly human resources. Why I choose this topic? I think there are several reasons why I choose the development of elderly human resources as my research object. First, China's rapid aging has made China have a huge elderly population. In 2022, the number of people over 60 in China reached 280 million, and the number of people over 65 approached 210 million. There are more than 90 million young people aged 60 to 64, most of whom have a desire to continue working. Second, the China's working age population began to decline in 2012, and it's foreseeable that China will face a shortage of labor in the future, and the development of elderly human resources can alleviate this problem. The third reason is the huge elderly population will bring huge pressure on China to support the elderly. The development of human resources for the elderly can alleviate the burden of national finance and pressure of family support. That's my answer for your question. Thanks again.
Thank you for your answer. I am satisfied. Thank you.
So we continue. I invite Nadia Reznik, please. Would you like to ask some question?
Yes, first of all, thank you for opportunity to be here in this very famous university. I will be part of this university today. So thank you for this. And I also have several questions to you, Victoria. First of all, it's a good presentation and I need to accept it for this. So first of all, you have done a very good benchmark with countries, and on one from the picture you show Germany, you saw a comparison between USA, another country. So my first question, could you implement some approaches to China from this experience? And the second one, as I heard that you have been here more than 1 year, and you spent more than a year, and maybe you can implement something from our experience, from Ukrainian experience in your dissertation. Maybe you not included it in the presentation, but you have in dissertation. So I want to hear your answer. Thanks.
Okay, thanks for your question. And for your question one, the United States, Germany, and other countries entered aging relatively early and conducted in-depth research on the aging problem. The measures they have taken, such as developing education for the elderly, legislating to protect employment rights of the elderly, and delaying retirement, are all the measures that are more suitable for China, and are also measures that we are actively promoting. That's the answer for question one. And for question two, life in Ukraine has left a deep impression on me, and I have learned a lot. But I found relatively little information on aging in Ukraine. I only got some data. In 2021, 17.3% of the population over 65 is in Ukraine, making it an aging society. The number of people over 65 is 7.58 million. According to the United Nations, by 2055, the number of Ukrainians over 65 will exceed 10 million. However, I haven't been able to find more information on the employment of older Ukrainians, such as some measures taken by the government. And my thesis mainly studies the re-employment of elderly. So I didn't make a comparative study of Ukraine. But I also saw old people working in Ukraine supermarkets and in our university when I live in Ukraine. So maybe in the future, I will find more information about Ukraine. Okay, that's my answer for your question.
Okay, you have done a great work in past, and I wish you success in your future. And everything is clear in your answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Victoria. I have a couple questions for you too. First, can you please describe the situation of aging population in China? Do they have state support? Has the possibility to work in age 60 plus?
Okay, thanks for your question. In 2022, the number of the people over 60 in China reached 280 million, and the number of the people over 65 approached 210 million. The proportion of people over 65 reached 14.79%. And the aging of China's population has several characteristics. First, it's fast. From 2001 to 2021, the proportion of elderly people over 65 rised from 7% to 14.2%. Second, China is getting old before it gets rich. China's current per capita GDP is only $12,000, far below the level of other countries entering the aging. Third, imbalance between urban and rural area. The degree of aging in rural area is higher than that in urban area. Fourth, regional imbalance. The aging of the economically developed Southeast and Eastern regions is more serious than that of the Western and Central regions. Of course, we have some state supports. In 1995, the State Council approved the change of the name of China National Committee on Aging to the China Association on Aging, which is the State Department in charge of the course of aging, and the Chinese Scientific Research Center on Aging, specializing in aging issues. On August 24, 2022, the China Senior Talent Network began to use, which marks the start of construction of China's Senior Talent Information Service platform, which will broaden channel for the employment of the elderly, build a platform and promote the development of aging human resources. But I think this is not enough, and we need to do more concrete work to support the employment of the older people. And at present, health elderly people over 60 in China can continue to work. In recent years, I have also seen more and more older people working. Most of the low-skilled elderly people are engaged in cleaning and security work in shopping malls, supermarkets, school, and on the street. Some old people start their own small business.
Victoria.
Okay.
Okay, I'm satisfied. Yes, thank you. And now I think can ask or not one more question. And be shortly, please, I want to ask you briefly describe the way to improve the situation of the aging nation first, second, and third. Try to shortly explain for me, please.
Okay, thanks for your question. First, we can improve the age structure of the population by encouraging fertility. Second, we need to delay retirement, and third, develop education for the elderly, and fourth, encourage enterprises to recruit older people to work, and fifth, we can support the elderly to start their own business. And sixth, we can set up a special department responsible for the development of human resources for the elderly. Maybe we can encourage the social organization and the institution to take part in the development of human resources for the elderly. And eighth, we can develop the tertiary industry to absorb the elderly. Ninth, the whole society should carry out age-appropriate transformation to create an environment conducive to the work and the life of the elderly. Okay, that's my answer for your question.
I'm satisfied, thank you. No more questions, dear scientific council. No, okay, thank you. Let me acquaint those present with the conclusion about the scientific novelty, theoretical and practical significance of the result of this thesis. Дозвольте мені зачитати висновок новизну, теоретичне та практичне значення результатів, але хочу сказати, що всі документи є в матеріалах що хотілося б зазначити, щодо актуальності теми, ну, звісно, немає питань. Визначу, що дисертаційне дослідження виконано в рамках тематичного плану науково-дослідних робіт нашого університету. Мета і завдання повністю відповідають темі. Наукова новизна з основних таких моментів хотілося б, щоб було визначити, що запропоноване концептуальне обґрунтування проблеми формування стратегії управління розвитком людських ресурсів в умовах старіння нації в Китаї через специфіку здатність суспільства підтримувати та використовувати при необхідності наявні та явні компенсатори, відновлювати та вдосконалювати власну структуру в розрізі соціальних верств за низкою значущих параметрів. Детально більш не буду зупинятися на науковій новизні щодо теоретичного та практичного з нього значення.
Наталя Валерівна, ми нікуди не спішимо. А документи, які ви зачитуєте, вони не представлені на сайті університету. Тому можете зупинятися більш детально на основних пунктах висновку про наукову, теоретичну та практичну цінність.
Добре, дякую. Тоді ще доповню наукову новизну такими основними моментами, як було удосконалено теоретико-методологічні підходи до трактування категорії розвитку людських ресурсів літнього віку, що здійснюється завдяки процесу мобілізації, залучення до розвитку літніх людських ресурсів у всіх сферах соціально-економічного життя та в цілому в суспільстві за допомогою різних методів, таких як освіта, навчання, наставництво, персоноорієнтоване ставлення. Також систематизовано теоретичні основи, поглиблення концепції та сформовано методологічний підхід до забезпечення управління та оцінки ефективності реалізації процесів старіння населення, завдяки чому можна сформувати ефективні стратегії соціально-демографічного розвитку, забезпечити гарантії доходів для людей різних вікових категорій, поліпшення стану здоров'я та зростання добробуту всіх громадян, а також подальшого розвитку набули принципи залучення людей похилого віку до повноцінного економічного відтворення шляхом інтенсифікації накопичення людського інтелектуального капіталу та раціоналізації структури витрат на соціальну підтримку людей похилого віку та інвестиційний соціально-економічний розвиток. Щодо використання результатів роботи, то основні положення та результати були оприлюднені на конференціях в Тернополі, Полтаві та сучасний менеджмент тенденцій, проблеми та перспективи розвитку в місто Дніпро. Особиста участь автора в одержанні наукових та практичних результатів, викладених в дисертації, Особисто сформулював висновки, рекомендації, готував до друку матеріали дослідження, брав участь у затвердженні та обговоренні результатів дослідження. Відповідно, і внесок здобувача у нас підтверджено відповідними документами. Щодо основних публікацій за темою дисертації, то у нас їх 8, 3 статті у фахових наукових виданнях, всі включені до міжнародних наукометричних баз, 2 статті опубліковані в наукових періодичних виданнях Організації співробітництва розвитку України, які включені до науково-метричних баз Scopus. Щодо структури та обсягу дисертації, то вона викладена на 190 сторінках, 24 таблиці, 25 рисунків, 204 позиції літературних джерел. Що можу ще зазначити щодо мови та стилю дисертації, то вона написана грамотною англійською мовою, має змістову цілісність, послідовність та завершеність. І щодо висновку, хочу зачитати, що дисертаційна робота Ху-Чжепінь «Управління розвитком людських ресурсів в контексті старіння населення в Китаї», англійською затверджена «Management of Human Resources Development in Context of Aging Population in China», подана на здобуття ступеня доктора філософії за спеціальністю 073 менеджмент, за своїм науковим рівнем та практичною цінністю повністю відповідає вимогам пункту 6 Постанови Кабінету міністрів України про затвердження порядку присудження ступеня доктора філософії та скасування рішення Разової ради, спеціалізованої вченої ради закладу вищої освіти, наукової установи про присудження ступеня доктора філософії від 12.21.22 року та номер 44 та вимогам та оформленням дисертації, затвердженим наказом МОН України від 12.01.2017 року номер 40, відповідає напряму наукового дослідження освітньої наукової програмі СНАУ зі спеціальністю 073 менеджмент. Тому переходимо по процедурі до обговорення дисертаційної роботи Ху-Чжепінь. We begin to the discussion of dissertation work Ху-Чжепінь. First, I invite to speak Professor Danko Yuri, Doctor of Economic Science, Sumy National Agrarian University. You are welcome, Professor Danko.
Thank you, Natalia Valerievna. I think that relevance of the topic of management of human resource development in the context of aging population in China People Republic, but not only in China People Republic, is very important for all the world and for Ukraine too, because now during the war, every day our people, men in good age, are killed every day, and now we must think about our population. And I hope that some results of management of human resource can be used from this dissertation, from this thesis, can be used for our future. Everybody can find my review on the website of Sumy National Agrarian University, and I will not stop on different part of my review, and I want only describe some remarks and wishes for this dissertation. Positively assessing the scientific and practical signification of the dissertation work, I consider it necessary to point out a number of datable provisions, some provisions. First, evaluation the author's contribution to the theoretical knowledge in the field of managing the development of human resources in the context of the aging of the nation. It would be appropriate to take a deeper look at such a category of concept as human resources of the elderly and the management of human resources of the elderly. Second, in view of the topic of scientific research, it would be more expedient to emphasize attention in the theoretical section and to describe in more detail the implementation of management function in the project part, in particular planning, organizing, motivation, control in the context of managing the development of human resources. Third, in subchapter 2.2, speaking about the international experience of managing the development of human resources, the author defined access to the universities of the third age as one of the criteria for the development of the standard of living, which is quite popular in the countries of Western Europe and the Ukraine too. However, it should be analyzed how this type of development can be used in modern Chinese realities. Next, fourth, to illustrate the problems of implementation of the human resources development strategy in the context of the aging of the nation in the China, subchapter 3.2, it would be possible to provide certain statistical data or the result of expert assessment. Next, when formulation proposals for strategies and measures for managing the development of human resources of the elderly in the China, subchapter 3.3, it would be appropriate to use visualization tool, drawings, diagrams to the visualization they formulate provision. And finally, I would like to find more reflection on the promotion of the educational services of universities of the third age in China as one of the methods of management of the development of human resources, taking in the account the peculiarities of local social security. However, the indicated comments and wishes do not fundamentally affect the overall positive assessment of the dissertation work, are not fundamental, and do not reduce its rather high overall assessment. And dissertation work, management of human resources development in the context of aging population in China, which was submitted for defense to the Specialization Academic Council for obtain the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the field of knowledge 7 management and administration in the specialty 073 management according to its relevant scientific and theoretical levels, the main result of validity, the main provision and result published in professional publications, the novelty of the formulation and practical signification meet the requirements of the Order of Ministry of Education number 4 and the resolution of our Ukrainian government number 44. 44 with changes introduced in accordance with resolution of the cabinet of the ministry. It's my review. Thank you very much.
Hojapin, you are given the opportunity to respond to comments that have been posted in review.
Okay, thanks, Professor. Your comments are very important for us. We will consider them for future research, but let me answer some of them. For comment 3, at present, the most important educational institution for the elderly are the University for the Elderly. In 1983, China's first university for the elderly was established in Shandong province. According to the report on the development of education for the elderly, by the end of 2019, there were about 76,000 universities for the elderly, and about 10 million students are enrolled in the school. The University for the Aged has made a great contribution to the society with the aim of increasing knowledge, enriching life, edifying sentiment, promoting health, and serving the society. And but in recent years, there have been more problems, such as unbalanced regional development, insufficient investment in the education fund for the elderly. So in China, the following measures can be taken to promote the development of the human resources for the elderly. By using the University for the Elderly, the government should formulate a unified plan and make reasonable arrangement, establish a lifelong education system, open more university for elderly, set up more courses suitable for the elderly, encourage local university and technical school to participate in education for the elderly. And that's the answer for comment 3. And for comment 4, I did not find the statistical data and expert evaluation results on the strategic issues of human resources development for the elderly in the context of aging. Although the issue of human resources development for the elderly began to receive academic attention in 1990s, in recent years, our government has really begun to pay attention to this issue and take some action. But no experts and scholars have conducted statistical research and evaluation on the achievement of human resources development for the elderly. I think the main reason is that at present, the employment of young people is the focus of the government. The latest figure puts youth unemployment at 28%, with some 30 million people out of work. So the development of human resources for the elderly has not been fully implemented. Perhaps maybe in the future, 10 years later or more, I predict the development of human resources for the elderly will become the focus of attention, and more experts and scholars will conduct research in this area. Thanks again. That's my answer.
So, Professor Danko, are you satisfied with the answer?
Yes, I am satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I invite an official opponent. Sorry. I invite Professor Tatiana Harchenko, Sumy National Agrarian University, please.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity to review the work. The full review is attached to the materials of the certification case and is attached to the website. Therefore, let me introduce the main points of the review. Management of human resources development in the context of China's aging population requires the search for innovative ideas and implementation of scientific achievements in the realities of social relations. Demographic and economic characteristics of the population, reproduction and migration process affect the level of labor supply in the country, as well as the sectoral and social structure of labor resources in the specific of their general and professional performance. China aging population is not only driven by natural demographics, but also by policy. All this determines the relevance of the research topic and requires a detailed analysis of the problems related to the management of human resources development in the context of China aging population. The dissertation was carried out in accordance with the direction of research work of the Department of Management of the Summa National Agrarian University, Development of Management in the context in international integration process 2019-2023. The scientific novelty, the theoretical significance of the dissertation consists of the next: a conceptual proposed substantiation of the problem of forming a strategy of managing the development of human resources in the context of the aging of the nation in China by the way of the specific ability to society to support and using implicit and explicit compensatory of necessary to restore and improve its own structure in the context of social critical according to the number of significant theoretical and methodological approaches to the implementation of the category of development of age human resources as a process of mobilizing, utilizing and developing aged human resources of all classes and types of it, the whole society by using various ways such as education, training, and culture construction. Those systemized theoretical foundations were definite concept and was formed a methodological approach to ensure the management and evaluation of the effectiveness of the implementation, the process of population aging, thanks to which it's possible to formulate effective strategies for social demographic development. Further development took place. Principles, methods of applying the priority is to know involve the elderly in full-fledged economic reproduction, so the intensification of accumulation of human capital and the realization of the structure of expenses for social support of the elderly and investment in the social economic development. I propose the content and substantiation of the problem of forming strategy for managing the development of human resources in the context of the aging of the national in China by globalization transformation by the specific characteristics of aging human resources like human capital and time limit. Improving the theoretical and methodological approaches for assessing the influence of social demographic factors on the dynamic of economic development strategy for managing the development of human resources in the context of the aging of the nation in China by globalization transformation by the specific characteristics of aging human resources like human capital and time limit. So I would like to focus attention on main results obtained by the author. So author clearly outlines the field of scientific research relevant the concept, causes and indicators of population aging, migration and urbanization. Also, author considers the three stages model of the traditional theory of demographic transition and one of the established theory of population relating to social economic development. So the second section, researchers analyze the current situation of human resources development in China in the context of population aging, in particular retrospective analysis of trends in China's total fertility rate and the dynamics of the population aging 60 and over underlines the depth of the research. Also, author proposed suggestions for the development of human resources for the elderly in China within the framework of institutional guarantees and state support for the aging of human resources in China include the formation of legal framework to protect the rights and interests of the elderly so that they can work again, influence the system of judicial protection of the right of the elderly to participate in employment, establishing a special administrative department responsible for the employment of the elderly, and developing a system of digital technology that promote the employment of the elderly. And it's necessary to know certain discussion points and comments on the research. So, first, given the subject of the research and the direction of the specialty 073 management, it would be more appropriate to highlight in the theoretical chapter the management functions for the development of human resources in the contents of China's aging population. And in this case, I support Yuri Ivanovich Danko. In chapter 2.2, it would be desirable to focus on the activity of enterprises and the demand for occupation for the aging population in management of human resources development. Point 3, taking into consideration the depth of the analytical work, it would be useful for better visualization to represent schematically the place of the macro, micro, and individual levels in the system of human resources development management in the context of China's aging population, section 2. The next, it would be advisable to reflect chapter 3.2, the final calculation of the estimated benefits of the proposed measures for the development of human resources in the context of China's aging population. And the last, in chapter 3.3, it would be an advantage to have a schematic representation of the model of functioning of institutional guarantees and state support for the aging population in China. However, the above comments and suggestions don't fundamentally affect the overall positive assessment of dissertation, and the expressed wishes are aimed at expanding the scientific field in the studied issue. And relevance of the dissertation to the specialty and profile of the council as conclusion, the thesis of Hyo Ji-ping, submitted for defense to the specialized academic council for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the field of knowledge 07 Management and Administration, specialty 073 Management, according to its relevant scientific and theoretical level, main results of validity, main provisions, and results published in professional publication, novelty of the statement and practical significance meets the requirements of the order of the Minister of Education number 40 and the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine number 42. As conclusion, the content of the dissertation corresponds to the specialty of the passport of the specialty. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Tatiana. Hyo Ji-ping, you are given the opportunity to respond to comments that have been posted in review, please.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. I think your comments are very important for us. We will consider them for future research. Now let me answer some of them. For the comment 2, in section 2.2, I described the total human resources, educational level, and health level of older people. Your suggestion to discuss business activities and the occupational needs of older people in section 2.2 is a good one. If the activities of enterprises and the occupational needs of the elderly are considered, the development of human resources for the elderly can be more targeted and efficient. I will add this discussion in the later research. Thank you for your valuable advice. And for comment 3, in recent years, our country has only begun to take some measures to develop the old human resources. At present, there is no relevant research on calculation of the final benefits of the elderly human resources. Of course, your comment has inspired me with a good research idea, but I think it's not an easy research task. And in the future, I will devote myself to this research together with my team in the following research. Thanks again for the new idea. That's my answer for your comments. Thanks again.
Tatiana, are you satisfied with the answer?
Okay, thank you. I'm satisfied, Victoria. Thank you.
I invite an official opponent to speak, Kozak Katerina, Doctor of Economic Science, Professor at the Odessa Technological University. Please welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for opportunity to be opponent this work. The topic very actual, I think, and we think. Today, the aging of the population has become the main social problem facing the world, as well as a threatening issue of the economy, social development, and demographic policy of various countries. Population aging will have a number of far-reaching consequences for economic and social development. The work is devoted to the problem of deepening the theoretical foundation, improving methodological provision, and developing practical recommendations for the formation and improvement of the effectiveness of the human resource management strategy in the context of the nation aging in the condition of globalization transformation in China. I think the scientific novelty of the obtained results lies in the conceptual substantiation of the problem of forming a strategy for managing the development of human resources in the context of the aging of the nation in China, in the condition of globalization transformation. Improving the theoretical and methodological apparatus for assessing the influence of socio-demographic factors over domains of economic development. Theoretical and practical significance of the results of a dissertation. I think the conclusions and results obtained during the research provided an opportunity to verify the hypothesis in its basis, and their complex generalization in turn provides opportunities for making a number of proposals that have not only theoretical but also practical value. It's important to say the main scientific provision and research results on the topic of the dissertation were published in 8 scientific works, including 2 articles in specialized scientific publishing of Ukraine, all included in international scientific debates. 2 articles were published in scientific periodicals of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which are included in the Scopus Scientific Metric database, 3 basic in metrical of scientific conference, 1 section of the collective monograph. The dissertation characterized clear adherence to the structural and logical scheme of the research, the correspondence of the scientific results, and the positive issued for the protection of scientific novelty to the set goal and the specific task of the research. The structure and concept of the dissertation is completeness and compliance with the established requirements of design. The dissertation is a comprehensive study devoted to the finish solution to the problem of ensuring human resource management in the context of an aging nation in China. The work is devoted to the problem of deepening the theoretical foundation, improving methodological provision, and development practical recommendations for the formation and improvement of the effectiveness of the human resource management strategy in the context of the aging of nation in the condition of globalization transformation in China. The conclusions and results obtained during the research provided an opportunity to verify the hypothesis in its basis, and their complex generalization in turn provides opportunities for making a number of proposals that have not only theoretical but also practical value. However, in my opinion, it is appropriate to note that there are certain debatable points in the work. At one, according to the author's definition, human resources are understood as the total number of able-bodied people who can contribute the social and economic development. Subsection 1(1). Aging human resources have specific characteristics and management features such as capital. It should be noted that the capital of old personnel differs from the capital of young personnel. The capital of young personnel is the potential abilities of young people. Through train, development, and other appropriate means this portion of potential ability can be turned into reality. Therefore, the thesis work should emphasize the management of the capital of human resource of the elderly. This would significantly strengthen the theoretical acquisition of the dissertation work. 2. The development of aging unbalance among China's regions, Chapter 2, due to the great difference in the levels of socio-economic and cultural development between the provinces, cities, and the regions of China, in order to minimize the negative consequences of demographic changes, it would be appropriate to propose a comprehensive solution in the form of a target states program to manage the nation aging. 3. According to the other, the development of human resource should promote and encourage the formation, development, and improvement of the potential physical strength, mental abilities, knowledge, and skills of people through intensive education and training, i.e. promote the realization of a process of potential abilities, Chapter 3, paragraph 3.2. But it should be noted that compared to the general human resources, the human resources of the elderly have a limited time resource. Before there is the urgent question of the effectiveness of investing in the development of older people over time. And at 4, the other use the experience of the world leading countries as the basis for developing a system for improving the quality of life of human resources. However, the successes and problems are a country that develops a long-term CAFA service system can become useful source for the creating and development system in improving the quality of life in China. But due to China's national condition and characteristic, it is not appropriate to just copy the successful experience of countries, but to develop a management model, the development of human resource according with the actual condition of the aging of the China's nation, which the condition of sustainable development will assure and increases in the economic potential of the population. But all the remarks I have listed are only of recommendatory nature and do not affect the overall positive assessment of the dissertation work. And I support Hugh Jupin. The work deserves to assign for obtain the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the field of knowledge, 07 Management and Administration with specialization 073 Management. Thank you.
Thank you.
Катерина. Jupin. You are given the opportunity to respond to comments that have been posted in your official opinion. Please, welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. I think your comments are very important and useful for us. We will consider them for future research. Now let me answer some of them. For comment 2, due to the differences in the level of economic development and the flow of population, the aging of the population in China is unbalanced. In order to reduce the negative effects of demographic change, our government is also adopting comprehensive solution. Of course, for China's large elderly population, solving this problem is very difficult and will take a long time. I agree with the professor. It would be very beneficial if there were public aid and donor funds from international organizations to help China. We will probably get financial support and experience and technological guidance to help China solve this problem more efficiently. And for comment 3, I think I also talk about it in my essays, compared with general human resources. Elderly human resources are more time efficient. So for the development of elderly human resources should be timely. Otherwise, elderly people will die due to their physical discomfort, and their knowledge, skill, and experience will not exist. So, which is a huge loss to the society. So the development of human resources for the elderly is a very urgent task and can't be postponed because of the current unemployment problem. That's my answer for your comments. Thanks again.
Thank you. Professor Katerina, are you satisfied with the answer?
Thank you for your answer, Victoria. Yes, I am satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I invite an official opponent to speak, Резник Nadia, Doctor of Economic Science, Professor, National University of Life and Environment Science of Ukraine. Welcome.
I dwell only on the conclusions, since the feedback was sent on time and posted on the site, and I will try to be concise. So discussions, cases, and remarks to the dissertation. In my opinion, it's appropriate to note that there are certain detailable points in the work. First of all, it's against population. It's a symbol of social progress. People have a more negative attitude towards the against population and are pessimistic about the future of against society. The theoretical part of the dissertation, chapter 1, contains the statements of the positive and optimistic attitude of science to the social phenomenon of the against of the nation. And it's optimizing that the problem will be solved with the development of society, and the future is not as pessimistic as we imagine. However, they have different views on the complexity and perspective of the problem. Many solutions have been put forward in academic cycles to solve the problem of population against, such increasing the retirement age, and European experience also was included in this chapter. So the second one, it's due to the great difference in the levels of socioeconomic and cultural development between China provinces, cities, and regions, as well as increase of migration flows in the middle of the country. The degree of gains of China's population is also unbalanced between regions. In general, the eastern and coastal region are economically developed, and the proportion of sustainable this population is very high. The economic level of central and western region is backwards, and the degree of there again is not high. So, in my opinion, we can describe subjection 2.2 in another way. For example, it would be appropriate of discernible between state measures for reduce the impact of population. So the next one, it's also about some little mistakes in describe and highlight of China's population. It's develop human resources for the resolve contradictions during development and change resistance to progress to the power of social development. In the implementation of the strategy for development of human resources of the people-oriented approach should be followed. First, the development of human resources of process of mobilizing, using and development the human resources of social classes and types through various methods such as education, training, culture construction. And second, by making full use of unique stretch of the elderly, we can make the best use of that talents, getting the best from them and the best use of them. So it means that it can be divided in, I hope it can be better if you will use, for example, not a talent, you can choose it like skills and use it in future work. So the next one for it's with the development of economy and society, medical condition also improved, which led to significant increase in the life of the population. The other describe development of society and influence increase in average life expectancy, and this is true because human resources it's really resolve contradictions in the course of development and to change the resistance to the progress to the power of social development. But the author does not take into account the physical abilities of the adaptation to rapid changes. On the last one, finally, it's subchapter 3.3. It would be advisable to conduct a final calculation of cost of state and regionally budget and the implementation of the National Action Plan for China's human resources development in the context of against population, household cost, and projected benefit from the proposed target for the elderly population. But it not means that it big problem of your work or big mistakes. No, it's just my remarks. And of course, this thesis, this dissertation work of Victoria submitted for defense to a specialized scientific council for degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the field of knowledge 07 management administration with a specialty management. And I think that it's good work, and I will be great if such work will be in our future in this topics. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Hojapin, you are given the opportunity to respond to comments that have been posted in review. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Your comments are very important and meaningful for us. We'll consider them for future research now, but let me answer some of them. For comment 3, you suggested that I should identify in more detail the ways in which old people transfer their experience to young people in order to promote the development of both generations. I think it's a good suggestion. However, in my thesis, I focus on how to development human resources for the elderly. Of course, I will focus on the method of experience teaching of the elderly in the later research, which will help to give play to the advantages of elderly and promote the growth of the young. For comment 4, in the paper, I proposed that with the development of social development of medical condition, people's life expectancy has increased. The legal retirement age should be raised to cope with the aging population. In fact, I have taken into account the physiological capacity of the elderly in the human resources development measures for the elderly. In the macro measures I mentioned, providing flexible working hours and position for the elderly and caring for the physical and mental health of the elderly. Of course, I think I will further explore the specific implementation details in the future research. And for comment 5, I think it's a good suggestion. Through calculation, people can clearly know the expected cost and benefits of human resources development for the elderly, so as to make more scientific arrangement. And however, I think that's a relatively large research project, and my team can carry out research in these aspects in the next stage of research. That's my answer for your comment. Thanks again for the new idea.
Professor Резник Nadia, are you satisfied with the answer?
Yes, thank you.
So, according to the rules of work of the Specialized Academic Council, we proceed to the discussion of the thesis of Ho Japin. I emphasize that all present members of Academic Council have the right to take part in discussion. Therefore, I ask who want to speak about this work. I think Professor Danko want to be first because he is a gentleman.
It's good gender position, Natalia Valerievna. First of all, dear Ho Japin, thank you that you choose our university for studying, getting the diploma of PhD. It was really good 4 years. I remember the first years when you come to our university. I remember the first my visit to the China and communication with you, with my PhD students. And at that time, I could see that you are a good researcher, really good researcher. We had a small challenge during the study in our university, changing the scientific advisor, scientific tutor, but I think, as for me, it was very useful for you. And when I read your dissertation, I could see the position of Inna Lazinska, like a scientific tutor, her idea, her thinking like a scientist in this field. And when scientists work with dissertation, scientists always has own position about the methodology, about the consisting of the different points and others. And it was your own way. But as for me, for future, you must think about some points. First of all, about the comparison between China and Ukraine, because you are studying in Ukraine and you must compare different countries because this problem are similar for different countries. And my opinion, in future, you must continue work with this topic. You must continue work with this topic because there are many questions that you can find the answer for these questions. Why the most quantity of other people in Japan? 20, if I write 20,000 people with age more than 100 years now live in Japan. Why this country can get so good result? And comparison with different country like Ukraine, like African country. And my best wishes for today, I will vote yes, and it's really good result for you, for your scientific tutor, and for our university. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Danko. Tatiana Harchenko, would you like to say your opinion?
So, taking under consideration the topic of scientific research, management of human resources development in the context of a population of China, the topic is very extensive and deep, but you decided all tasks, and I was really impressed by your point that Victoria focused attention on the acute lack of formal education for the vast majority of elderly population and the legacy of history that preceded for the founding of New China. So significant differences in self-assessment of health status were found between elderly people with different levels of education in urban and rural areas. So similarly, elderly people with higher education have a better self-assessment of their health status. It's very important. That's why they used argumentation in the theoretical, methodological, and practical directions of the research, ensures the scientific of the thesis, statements, and recommendations. I positively support the results of the research and will vote for the award of the Doctor of Philosophy degree. And for me, it was very nice to see you when you was on the first step on PhD level, and now when you're to achieve your goal. Thank you very much that you chose our university. You was a very good and very clever PhD student. Thank you. I wish you be happy and healthy and save your emotional intelligence for nowadays.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana. Professor Katerina Kozak, please, your opinion.
Yes, thank you. Victoria, thank you for opportunity to be opponent this work. I wish you to continue on this topic because I think this topic very actual, management of human resource development in the content in China, in the world, in Ukraine, enough. I wish you success in all context in your life. Thank you for your interest for the specialized of 073 management. It's my favorite specialized too. That's why I wish you success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the Professor Nadia Reznik on the dessert, please. Nadia Petrovna, can you hear us? Okay, I can tell my opinion. I want to also tell my opinion when before Nadia connect us there's no doubt that work was done on relevant topic. The authors have successfully approached the problem of population aging. Many solutions have been put forward in academic and political cycles. The very structure and presentation of the research was carried out of a high level. Extensive foreign experience was used. Improvement of methodological provision and development of practical recommendation for the formation and improvement of the effectiveness of human resources management structure and strategy in context of aging of the nation, condition of globalization transformation in China. Of course, I support the dissertation and will vote towards the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for GP in the field of knowledge 07 Management Administration with a specialty 073 Management. And all, Nadia Reznik, please, your opinion.
As I told you before, that I'm grateful for the invitation to be an opponent of this work, and I respect our long-standing friendship between our university and between personalities. So I would like to note the prepared presentation. It was good, and the scientific language in which you presented, Victoria, because our experience with Chinese students and Chinese PhD students, it's highest level for today with your scientific language. Thank you very much to you and for your supervisor. And I really learned a lot for myself, first of all, in this work about China. And as Professor Daniko and I think it's our the main conclusion of this, that in my opinion it's necessary to include more experience in Ukraine, but you can do it in your future work. So it will be good for you in perspective, first of all, because now in the world Ukraine costs a lot, and knowledge is about Ukraine, it's your next level in your future. So the work is prepared completely, presented intelligently, I think. So I positively assess this work, this dissertation, and you, of course, Victoria, and your scientific supervisor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anyone also want to speak? If there are no objections, I suggest ending to discussion and to give possibility to give some words to scientific our tutor. Ina Sohan, please, Doctor of Economic Science, Professor. We are welcome.
Thank you, the head. Dear colleagues, I would like to first to thank you for the positive perception of the dissertation work for GP. When he started the research in year 2018, I was the head of PhD department in SNAU, and I remember very good the process of acceptation this topic. But in that moment, I couldn't know that I will finish this research with Victoria. Her scientific way was complicated, but I think polyhedral. On this way, like Professor Danko has already told, was the change in the scientific tutor, and for each student, for each researcher, it's the great stress because it could change the direction, the highlights of all the work that was already done. For my opinion, the more highly obstacles on the scientific way was the beginning of war in our country, and because the attacks of bomb and tank they stopped for some moments. I can say it truthfully, they stopped for some months as the process of pre-defense and all publishing and other scientific communication. But in all these problems, Victoria came out with the honor, I can say truthfully. We always managed to find out the common language in all discussions during the process of work. So far, they're taking all this moment to the attention according to all positive moments that you highlight today in the process of discussion. I would like to ask all members of scientific community, today's scientific community, to support Victoria in the process of awarding the scientific degree Doctor of Philosophy in specialty 073 management.
Дякую, Інна Віталіївна. Ну і по процедурі. Нами попередньо було розроблено проєкт рішення спеціалізованої вченої ради. І дозвольте його зачитати. Спеціалізована вчена рада Сумського національного аграрного університету, Міністерства освіти і науки України, місто Суми, прийняла рішення про присудження ступеня доктора філософії з галузі знань 07 управління та адміністрування на підставі прилюдного захисту дисертації, управління розвитком людських ресурсів в контексті старіння населення в Китаї, англійською затверджена Management of Human Resources Development in Context of Aging Population in China за спеціальністю 073 Management. Кучепінь 1979 року народження, громадянка Китайської Народної Республіки, освіта вища, закінчила в 2011 році університет Хуацяо за спеціальністю бізнес-менеджмент. Аспірантуру закінчила у 2022 році Сумського національного аграрного університету, Міністерства освіти і науки України, міста Суми. Дисертацію викладено в Сумському національному аграрному університеті Міністерства освіти і науки, міста Суми. Науковий керівник Сахань Інна Віталіївна, доктор економічних наук, професор кафедри менеджменту імені професора Любові Іванівни Михайлової Сумського національного аграрного університету. Здобувач має 8 наукових праць, з них 3 статті у фахових наукових виданнях України, усі включені до міжнародних наукометричних баз даних, 2 статті опубліковано у періодичних виданнях Організації економічного співробітництва та розвитку країн, які включені до наукометричної бази даних Scopus, 3 тези в матеріалах наукових конференцій. Тому переходимо до процедури відкритого голосування. Прошу членів спеціалізованої вченої ради проголосувати і озвучити рішення щодо присудження Худжепінь ступеня доктора філософії зі спеціальністю 073 менеджмент. Ось, я, Стоянець Наталія, голосую за. Наступний, будь ласка.
Я, Юрій Данько, голосую за.
Я, Тетяна Харченко, голосую за.
Я, Катерина Козак, голосую за.
Я, Надія Резнік, голосую за.
За 5 голосів, проти немає. На підставі результатів відкритого голосування спеціалізована вчена рада присуджує Худжа-Пінь ступеня доктора філософії з галузі знань 07, управління та адміністрування за спеціальністю 073 менеджмент. Чи є зауваження щодо рішення спеціалізованої вченої ради? Немає. Дякую. Дозвольте привітати Худжа-Пінь з успішним захистом дисертації. Let me say word to congratulation Худжа-Пінь on her successful defense because scientific council had divided degree of Doctor of Philosophy in specialty 073 management. My congratulations. Would you like to say some words, Худжа-Пінь?
Yeah, дякую. I want to say, first of all, I would like to thank my supervisor, Professor Ina, who gave me a lot of help in the process of writing and revising my thesis. I don't think I could have finished my thesis smoothly without the hard work. I learned a lot from her. Thanks again. Secondly, I would like to thank all the distinguished professors for participating in my doctoral thesis defense and giving me many valuable questions and comments. Your valuable openings have spared me a lot and provided me a new research idea. I really appreciate all professors here. Thank you very much. Дякую.
І ми вам дякуємо. На цьому засідання спеціалізованої вченої ради вважається закритим. Дякую всім за роботу. Рада познайомитися з вами і попрацювати.
Дякую, колеги.
Навзаєм. Щиро дякуємо.
Хоч ви
Колеги, щиро дякую за
Дякую,
підтримку.
колеги.